Welcome to Inside Voices, a well-read magazine between the pages podcast. I'm Robert Gwaltney, joined by my friend and co-host Jeffrey Lofton. And we're both so excited to enter into conversation today with Kalela Williams. Welcome, Kalela.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Happy to have you. So, Kalela, before we get started, I'm going to share a little bit about you with our listeners.
Sounds great.
Kalela Williams is an author, a proud auntie, a cat mama, and a Black History Maven. She is the director of the Virginia Center for the Book and directs the Virginia Festival of the Book and other events. She has created and produced literary events for the Philadelphia Library System, a youth writing nonprofit, a university poetry center, and other institutions. Kalela grew up in Atlanta, but now she calls the cute, artsy town of Staunton, Virginia, home, where she and her partner run a community arts organization, the Off Center. In addition, her debut novel, Tangleroot, was published in October 2024 and is an American Booksellers Association Indies Introduced and an Indie Next Pick, a Junior Literary Guild selection, and one of Kirkus Review's best books of 2024. So, the Virginia Festival of the Book, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, the Virginia Festival of the Book is a multi-day celebration of literature, storytelling, and ideas held annually in Charlottesville, bringing together acclaimed and emerging authors. The festival features readings, panel discussions, workshops, and community events across a wide range of genres. With a strong emphasis on accessibility and engagement, the festival creates a welcoming space where readers and writers connect. Jeffrey.
Thank you, Robert. Kalela, it's so good to have you with us again.
Oh, it's so great to be here again. Thank you.
So I love the Virginia Festival of the Book. I've been down as a presenter and as an attendee several times. And, it's called the Virginia Festival of the Book, but it's really about a lot more than books. Will you tell us about the artists, the volunteers, the businesses, the government entities, the nonprofits that come together to enrich your local community?
Yeah. So what I love about the Virginia Festival of the Book is it's really about community. It's, I mean, community is what books do. They bring us together as a community. They bring us together. And so each year we feature authors of recent, in some cases, not so recent books. But we've brought together authors, actors, musicians, and special guests, like scholars, knowledge bearers to join us. And we feature anywhere from 80 to 150 authors in a given year. But we take over the town of Charlottesville, Virginia, which is in central Virginia. We've got events spread out all over the downtown mall and beyond in Charlottesville. And we engage with about a dozen local and regional bookshops to sell books at events and in their venues. So it's really awesome that way too. We work with nonprofits, we invite city officials. It's really quite the event. And we're just inviting everybody to join in.
Well,
That's
there,
wonderful.
yeah, and this year I came down to really just attend and watch, and I was so impressed. The event at the Paramount Theater. Can you tell us a little bit about those costumes that were brought out of storage and shown? That
Oh,
was
sure.
fascinating.
Yes. So we had an event that was centered around the author, around the fashion designer, Claire McCardle. And there's a book by Elizabeth Evans Dickinson, called Claire McCardle, the Designer Who Set Women Free. And Claire McCardle was a real pioneer in women's fashion, someone whose name we don't necessarily know, but she invented things like, or she popularized or invented things like the wrap dress, flats, pockets in dresses. She was a big advocate for pockets and dresses. And so we worked with the UVA's theater department's costume history program, and we and their manager, Marcy Linton, brought out costumes from storage or clothing from storage from the past century that were either inspired by Claire McCardle's designs, or in one case, it was an actual Claire McCardle dress. And it was super fun because I had a dress made that was designed off of Claire McCardle's, one of her designs too. So it was just a great night of fashion and so much fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
Well, Jeffrey, I bet you would look adorable in a wrap dress and flats.
Oh, I bet.
I have no doubt, bow ties and wrap dresses, I think they go together.
I think
I think you should try it.
I might do that next time I go to the festival. I might wear one.
there you go.
A new look for 2026.
Yeah.
So so Kalela, I'm sure that attendees and participants have absolutely no idea what goes into producing an event of that scale. What does the year-long cycle look like leading up to the festival for you and the team?
Oh my gosh. It is a lot of work, I'll be honest. And it is a year-long cycle. It takes a year, sometimes even a little bit more. Before one festival ends, we're already getting started on the other one. So even before this festival ended, we'd already decided on a date. We were already putting soft holds on venues. And we're still doing that now. We're still booking venues. I think we're just about done with that. We also will soon begin starting author submissions, that whole process where we accept submissions from authors and publicists. That goes on throughout the summer. And while that's happening, we're working with hotels to book rooms. We're still finalizing those event venues. Um, and then we're inviting authors and getting the programming details finalized, all the infrastructure in place. And in the winter, that's time for us to start gathering our volunteers. And then next thing you know, we're marketing. We're getting posters on all over the downtown mall, and that doesn't include the time that it takes to design the poster, to or find an artist to design the poster, to um, do all the marketing, to do all that behind the scenes stuff to even get those print materials ready. I mean, it's just quite it really does take a whole community even to get this festival together.
Wow. And you feature, different kinds of authors, debut authors, best-selling authors, award-winning literary stars, all at the festival. Why is it important for you to offer the attendees access to a variety of choices?
You know, I love books, and there's just so many great books that are out there. So uh, it's tough to choose from the so many submissions that we get each year, hundreds of submissions that we get each year. But it's also really important to bring a mix of authors. It's good to bring in those big five authors who've published with those big presses or publishing companies. It's also good to bring in folks who've published with academic presses, folks who've published with small indie publishers, people who are coming from all walks of the publishing life, because we want people to discover new authors. We want them to discover new voices. We want them to discover quality literature, of course. That's super important to us. But we also want to we want to just bring out people, bring out emerging authors, bring out people who are just getting started and people who've been doing this for a long time. Our audience is very curious, and they come here to, sure, they like to engage with the big names, but they also want to discover authors whose works they're not familiar with.
Yeah, well, and I have to say, you were the first festival to accept me into your fold, and it was the first festival I ever went to. So it was really important for me, and I can understand how for those newer authors, it's such a wonderful boost. So thank you for doing that for us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
special. That was so special, because it was my first year at with the Virginia Festival of the Book, so that was super exciting.
Yeah, and I had an opportunity to go there as well with Jeffrey, and I had a beautiful time. You guys took such good care of us, and it was one of the best experiences.
Yeah,
I that makes me so happy. We really do try to make our authors happy. It's so important to us.
and there's a
Well,
lot
so
of
you're an author, Kalela.
yeah, you are, yeah.
So you're an author. So how did that experience having your debut book make its way out in the world? Has that impacted your approach to the festival in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I think going to other festivals as an author is a very different experience. And so I was able to go to the Louisiana Book Festival and Y'all Fest, and then a few other smaller events, like the Crozet Literary Festival. And I think it's really important to see how, to see what's there, see what's and all of these festivals treat their authors extremely well. I just had such a great time and felt so cared for. And I knew where I was going. I knew what to do. That's really important. So I think it's just, it helps me in the way that that I can say, okay, I like the way that this was done, and I like the way that this was done, because authors will have a different experience at a festival than guests will. And so it's really cool to see that from the inside out.
So, what are some of the highlights from this year's festival, Kalela? Anything special you'd like to talk about?
Oh yeah, it was so much fun. As I mentioned, again, a lot of hard work, but just so much fun. So the festival happened March 20th through the 22nd, and we started off with some preview events on March 19th. One of them was this live podcast that was so much fun. It was a humorous look at Black history, and it was called "Our Ancestors Were Messy." And the podcast
Mhm.
host looks at different primary source documents from way back in the day, and in this case, she did a whole like choose your own adventure. It was great. We also then we started off the festival with a visit from Dr. Ibram X. Kendi for his new book about the Great Replacement Theory, and that was just absolutely mind-blowing. It was just really cool. And we had a storytelling event that night that just brought everybody together. On Saturday, we had Sally Mann, who's a renowned photographer who uses antique antique photograph equipment to take her pictures, and she captures a lot of rural Appalachia. It's just absolutely incredible. There was an event that we have done nothing like before, that I haven't seen anything like before. There's a book called A Miserable Revenge, A Story of Life in Virginia, and it was written by a gentleman named George A. Newman, who was the son of enslaved people, and he wrote this in the 1870s. And this handwritten manuscript stayed in his house until his descendant, Ruth Tolliver, was bequeathed it and decided she wanted to get it out into the world. So she published it with the help of JMU, James Madison University, in Virginia. And then Virginia Humanities gave some funding to a grant for a symposium and to help with getting this book out into the world. So what we decided to do was amplify it even more, where we had a group of actors who read a chapter, did a staged reading from a chapter of the book. And we also had a scholar from JMU give us context. And Ruth Tolliver, she's 93, so she wasn't able to be here, but she appeared via Zoom. So that was a lot of fun. The Claire McCardle event was just so exciting. And the Sunday for me was my highlight. My personal highlight was Lori Halse Anderson, because I'm such a fangirl of her work. So that was super fun to see her at Monticello.
And and thanks for telling us about all those. We got a little bit of a little more information about the dresses, that those innovative dresses, which I really enjoyed that. I didn't see all of the events that you just mentioned. I wish I'd been able to go to all of them. There's so much to see, so much to do. But the impact it has on the community, the cultural programs, that you put on, how does what have you seen the impact? You mentioned that the program's been around for, I think, 32 years, and you've been there for several. How do you see the impact on the community of Charlottesville?
Yeah. So first of all, I will say, Jeffrey, that I don't get a chance to see half the things I want to see. I mean, I wish I could be everywhere. And there's some events that I'm so excited about that I can't be there just because I can't be two places at once, which is really a character flaw for me. But I will say the impact of the community. I came into the festival for the 2023 festival. I started in the fall of 2022. And this was actually not my first rodeo with a festival, because I had worked at Furious Flower Poetry Center, which was a part of JMU. And when I worked there, we for 2 different years we did programs that were part of the Festival of the Book. So in some ways, it was kind of like coming back. And of course, I used to go as a guest to the festival when I lived in Charlottesville before. But the impact is just so incredible, because we're just part and parcel of Charlottesville. We're this beloved annual tradition. This has been just it's decades old. It's bigger than me. It's older than me. I mean, it's not older than me actually, but it's older than my adult life. It's it's just really incredible to bring this sense of liveliness to our city, to see people all along the downtown mall, to see the restaurants and the small shops with shoppers, with hotels being booked. We're just so excited about that. We engage the UVA community. We have students who join us. We have faculty who joins us. And book festivals in period are just so important to communities because I mean, frankly, they help boost the local economy. They help with local dollars. They bring visitors in. They knit people together. They really do give places a sense of community and togetherness.
And I mean, I know there's probably some study someplace, but the mall is just teeming with people. Restaurants are full. There are people walking around, just it's just amazing how many people are out and about. And there's even this year I've noticed there's even a Seaville. There was like a topiary backdrop so people could take
Yeah.
selfies.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, Marketing, branding Charlottesville. So it's really exciting to see so many people come out for this.
Yeah, it was so great. And the weather helped too, of course.
Good weather, good weather. Yeah.
Ordered that.
We had good weather when we were there that year. I'm gonna share this with you. Let me grab it. I was out and about on the mall with Jeffrey and our friend Jody, and I actually purchased this piece of artwork while we were there. And so I keep it because it was such a special weekend for me. And so I keep it in my writing space so I can see it from my writing desk on the mantle here.
That's beautiful. I love
So I
that.
always think of you, and I always think of the Virginia Festival of the Book when I look at that artwork.
That is gorgeous.
Thank you. So sponsorships. It's not an inexpensive endeavor to produce such an event. Talk a little bit about your sponsors, Kalela, and why you think that they're drawn to the Virginia Festival of the Book.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely not cheap. We there's so many expenses that are involved, and we try to keep most events that are part of the festival free. And of course, any event that requires a ticket benefits us directly. But we have some great sponsors. First we have media sponsors who are just really awesome. Seville Weekly, I think, is one of our longest sponsors. They're the arts and leisure paper. And then one of our newest sponsors this year was called The Vault, Bradbury, and they are an event space, a cafe, a workplace, like a workspace. And they're just really awesome. They housed our information desk, which was a different place this year, and really brought a lot because they're smack on the downtown mall. And just so many people just came in to say, "Hey, what's going on?" They were just coming in for lunch and they're like, "What is happening?" Which was super great. We also have some other amazing sponsors, everything from a local organization called Writer House to the to the city of Charlottesville and the county of Albemarle. And some of our major sponsors are just really crucial. The Joseph and Robert Cornell Memorial Foundation, Dominion Energy, the Anne and Jean Worrell Foundation, and then our premier sponsor is Michelle and David Baldacci. Their names might sound familiar. They are wonderful, huge advocates for books, and we just love them dearly. Love what they do for the literary compass in Virginia.
Mm.
And Kalela, I mean, I've had an opportunity to meet quite a few writers over the last couple of years, and one of the things that I relate to is that so many of them prefer to sit alone at their computer or with their paper and maybe go outside or to a cafe and write. But they're they keep to themselves as they create these worlds that end up coming, to between the pages of their books. But going to a festival, being, a speaker, it requires you to sort of live in a different way, a different world. And how do you and your team help those folks, sometimes timid folks, feel at home and comfortable when they have to appear in front of large audiences full of readers?
This is such a great question, and I'm so glad you asked it because you're absolutely right. My experience is that writers tend to be introverts. They find their energy in solitude and they find their energy alone. I'm actually not like that. I'm one of the few writer extroverts. I get my energy from other people. I wonder, Robert and Jeffrey, if you all are the same.
A little more of
Well,
an introvert.
Jeffrey, you go first. How would you describe yourself?
I do describe myself as an introvert. Yeah.
Introvert, really? Okay.
One who's learned to be more out there and active and among people.
Yeah.
But I need my downtime to recharge.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Robert, what about you?
I was a shy child. I think that, well, by nature, I'm an introvert, and I was just sharing this with someone the other day about being out in the world. So we live two lives really. It's, when we're writing at the desk, but when I'm out and about and I have the opportunity to be able to promote my work and to engage with readers and other writers, I mean, I feel like I'm my best self. I mean, that's the Robert that I want to be
Hmm.
all the time because I'm out doing something that I'm so passionate about. So I think that in those moments, I'm a practiced, learned extrovert.
Yeah, I wonder if there's many authors who are like you because there's authors who are just really there are authors who just love their works. They love to promote their work. They love to talk, not even promote their work, but they like to share. They like to talk about
Yes.
their work, and that's just really great. So I would say that we try to make sure that authors feel comfortable and fulfilled at the festival. We want them to have a fulfilling experience here, and so part of that is also just logistics, right? Like, hey, you need to be here, or you're supposed to be here, or this is the time of the event, this is how early before the event you should arrive. We really try to communicate with them on all the details. Here's where you can get lunch. Here's the author party that's happening. And we do actually have every year we have a kickoff event, and we also have a party that authors can attend for free because we want them to be able to meet other authors, to be able to meet readers, to have a good time. And many of our authors love it. I mean, it's not for everybody, of course, not everybody comes, but most of them do, and they just have the best time. Um, and so we also, part of that is also just making sure that authors are connected with their moderators ahead of time. We do try to have a moderator for every event. Some events will have a solo author, but for the most part, you're going to have someone in conversation with you. And so connecting them ahead of time means that they can say, hey, can you give me an idea of the questions you're going to ask? Or even just feeling comfortable with the person to just know, like, oh, this is the person who will be talking to me. Here's who I'll be in conversation with. If I have questions, I can ask. And so we really just try to make this a great experience for authors and for attendees. It's important for us to do both, and for volunteers and moderators too.
And I think
So as you go ahead, Jeffrey.
I was going to say, I think you do it really well. I mean, my first time being at a festival was with you, and I just felt completely at home. And I think a lot of authors who go there feel the same way.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that party is fun. Jeffrey and I both were in attendance. Yeah,
Good.
at the author party, we had a good time.
That's awesome. I love it.
So you stated earlier that you're already beginning to plan for next year. Anything that you can share about the upcoming festival?
Yeah, so we don't have our authors in place yet, but I can share that a big piece of news, a big change to our festival is that after decades of us being in mid-March, we're moving to April in 2027. To a lot of our festival goers, that's going to come as a, oh my gosh. And the reason why we're moving to April is simply because of AWP, the Association of Writers and Writing
Mhm.
Programs, largest conference in North America for writers. We are not competing with that. In fact, I'll be there, so I don't want to compete with that. Uh, so we're moving to April, hoping that we'll have some great weather like we have in previous years. But we are in the works for some other great events. And in the meantime, as we prepare for the festival, we've got some really exciting things in the fall. And in the late summer, we're going to be at the National Book Festival in DC. We will be announcing our Great Reads authors soon who are going to have their books promoted at the festival. And this is, of course, in partnership with the Library of Congress. We are excited in the fall to bring best-selling author and my friend Matthew Quick to Northern Virginia for his newest book called Love, Dad, Me. It's a memoir on September 26th. You might remember him from the Silver Linings Playbook. And then we also, in the fall, on November 7th, we will be announcing soon our cider festival with the Frontier Culture Museum and the Virginia Association for Cider, or the Virginia Cider Association. We debuted this event last year. It was so much fun. We had authors, we had music, we had cider, hard cider, and soft cider too for the kids. Uh, and so we'll repeat that this year, and we are super excited about that, or excited. So we've got our hands full with events before the festival.
That sounds great.
Yeah. If you guys feel like coming over for the cider festival, it's so much fun.
Sounds like fun. So
I'm
Kalela, we've had an opportunity to talk about your life as a director for, Virginia Festival of the Book. But before we have to part ways, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about this project you were sharing with Jeffrey and me about Tangleroot.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, my partner and I co-founded the Off Center, which is a theater group. And we did this when we moved to Staunton, Virginia several years ago. And it has really taken off. It's my partner's project now, because I'm kind of busy. But he wanted to do a play, Tangleroot. He is actually making Tangleroot into a shadow puppet play. And this is a kind of a um, my novel launch. I had shadow puppets and even an actor helping to sort of perform some of the voices. So we're gonna be expanding this into a play, basing Tangleroot, the novel, adapting it into a show. And that is happening through the Off Center. So you can look up Off Center Stanton. .com and you'll find us, but we're really excited about that. This will be something interesting.
and I'm gonna
Exciting.
go see it because I live close enough to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so thrilled about that.
And
So Kalela, if our listeners would like to learn, if they've not already discovered you and your writing, how might they be able to learn a little bit more about you?
If they want to learn about me, they can go to KalelaWilliams.com, KalelaWilliams.com. If they want to learn about the Center for the Book, the Virginia Center for the Book, they can go to vabook.org. So again, that's vabook.org. And again, the website for Off Center is Off Center Stanton. And Stanton is spelled with a U because you belong here. So it's Staunton.
Gotcha.
I didn't make that up, but
we
it's
need
good.
a topiary for Stanton
It's good.
for photographs.
So, Kalela, thank you so much for spending time with Jeffrey and me today. And thank you for all that you do supporting writers, readers, and the greater community.
Well, thank y'all.
So, gentle listeners, until next time for Well Read Magazine's Inside Voices, I'm Robert Gwaltney.
And I'm Jeffrey Dale Lofton. And remember, to be creative is to be courageous. Thanks for joining us.